10 easiest countries to immigrate to and get citizenship. Which ones are the easiest countries to immigrate to and get citizenship? It's not a strange desire for immigrants to seek citizenship in the country they immigrate to. In most countries, immigrants who have lived in their countries for a stipulated amount of time may be granted citizenship by naturalization if they apply. The program follows natural humanity leanings. Someone who has lived peacefully in your land for a while should be allowed to enjoy the benefits of citizenship. Naturalization is the next available option for those who were not born, who don't have an ancestry, and those who can't buy citizenship. The process and requirement vary from one country to the other. It may involve certain tests and language skills. Marriage may also make it easier. We here present to you the 10 best countries to move to if you're considering the easiest countries to immigrate to and get citizenship. Number 10. Uruguay. It is very easy to become a Uruguayan if you marry someone with the country's citizenship and have lived in the country for 3 years. Otherwise, you have to spend 5 uninterrupted years in the country. While applying to become a citizen, the immigrant must be a permanent resident in Uruguay and must prove that he or she is making at least $1,500 a month with a crime-free record. Number 9. Poland. Poland is another one of the easiest countries to immigrate to and get citizenship. You need to have a permanent residence or just 3 years to be eligible for Poland citizenship. As a staunch member of the EU, an applicant who is a long-term citizen of an EU member country or has a resident permit in one of those countries for a very long time is also eligible to become a Polish by naturalization. Apart from the time factor, you also must have a stable or multiple regular sources of income. In addition, you must have legal title to an occupied dwelling. Marrying a Polish makes it easier for a citizen of an EU nation or a holder of permanent residence as a refugee to be granted permanent resident or citizenship of Poland. The processing fee is about $300 and the applicant must be more than 30 years of age. Number 8. Argentina. If you are considering an easy country to move to and get citizenship, look in the direction of Argentina. The Argentine citizenship is granted in Buenos Aires to eligible foreigners who have resided as a permanent resident for uninterrupted 2 years in the country. Clearly, it is one of the easiest countries to immigrate to and get citizenship. As documented in the statute, the Declaración de Migraciones, an applicant for citizenship of Argentina must be present in the country through the process of application. Once you become an Argentine by naturalization, you must be present in your new country, Argentina, for 6 months each year. However, one attractive thing about Argentina citizenship is that once you have the country's passport, you have visa-free access to 150 countries. Number 7. Paraguay. Paraguay ranks among the easiest countries to immigrate to and get citizenship. The country welcomes immigrants who are citizens of different countries from the very beginning. If you have enjoyed a permanent residency in Paraguay for a minimum of 3 years and are in regular employment for that number of years, you can apply to be a citizen of Paraguay. Interestingly, the application process takes 2 to 4 months to finalize. To become a Paraguayan permanently, the applicant will have to produce some documents from his home country. Thus, the application process is, however, not discreet and confidential. Such documents are marriage certificate, the police report, divorce certificate if applicable, and birth certificate. He or she will have to provide pertinent documents regarding their stay in Paraguay. Besides all that, the applicant must maintain an active bank account in Paraguay with a minimum balance of up to $5,000. This will prove to the government of Paraguay that the applicant will not be a dependent citizen in the foreseeable future. If the applicant wants to take advantage of the citizenship by investment, he or she can invest in real estate to back up the application. The documentation should also include the result of medical screening. The applicant must not be less than 18 years of age and must be a professional, a scientist, an engineer, an office worker, or an active person in arts and industry. He must not have any issue with the law. With a Paraguayan passport, you can travel freely to South American and European countries without a visa. Number 6. Ecuador. Ecuador is another one of the easiest countries to immigrate to and get citizenship. The steps to be taken are quite easy to get permanent Ecuadorian citizenship. It is one of the easiest countries that offer citizenship to persons who have enjoyed permanent residency for 3 years. For the entire 3 years, however, you cannot spend more than 90 days outside of the country. You will need to produce your birth certificate, 4 passport photographs, Ecuador free criminal record from Ecuadorian police, City Hall certificate, SRI certificate, notarized passport, index card issued by the Civil Registry, IESS certificate, and migratory movement record, among others. Then, you will proceed to remit an amount of $1,000. There is also the program of citizenship by investment for eligible investors who must invest about $25,000 in a real estate or other sector and have a balance of $800 a month in an Ecuadorian bank. Number 5. Nicaragua. Another one of the easiest countries to immigrate to and get citizenship is Nicaragua. One beautiful thing about Nicaraguan citizenship is that the dual citizenship you get has no effect on your previous one. This means you can choose which country you want to stick with between Nicaragua and your first nationality. In Nicaragua, permanent residency is granted for 5 years and is renewable. If you desire it, you can get Nicaraguan citizenship if you have completed 2 5-year residency terms. After the necessary documents have been submitted, you will be directed to pay 6,400 Cordobas as the official cost of the Nicaraguan citizenship application. Those filing as retirees with concrete proof will pay a lesser amount of 5,900 Cordobas. This is another waiver for a foreign investor. If you have invested an equivalent of up to $30,000 in the Nicaraguan economy, you may be granted citizenship upon the completion of your first 5 years of permanent residency. That brings you under the benefit of Citizenship by Investment program. Of course, you must have resided in Nicaragua for 5 consecutive years before filing such an application. Number 4. Belize. Belize is one of the easiest countries to immigrate and get citizenship. If you have stayed in the country for 5 years, your application to be a citizen Belizean can be processed within 6 months to 1 year. Within those 5 years of permanent residency, you shouldn't have lived outside Belize for 14 consecutive days to be eligible for citizenship. The condition can be softer if you marry a Belizean, which makes Belize one of the best countries to migrate to. To prove that an applicant has something meaningful to contribute to the economy of Belize, he or she must maintain a minimum account balance of $2,000 a month. The application fee varies from person to person based on several factors, including the citizenship of the country the applicant already has. For instance, a Mexican or a Guatemalan seeking to be Belizean will pay between $125 and $2,000. If a country is at war or having a diplomatic row with Belize, someone with citizenship of that country cannot get citizenship of Belize. Number 3. South Africa. Still on African soil, we offer you South Africa as one of the easiest countries to immigrate to and get citizenship. There is no age limit for South African citizenship. The deal is great when compared with any other one mentioned here. You are expected to live in the country for just 5 years with a reasonable amount in a South African bank account. Number 2. Seychelles. To be a citizen of this smallest island country in Africa, you need to endure living on the island for just over 5 years as a permanent resident. Once the government confirms that you have a minimum of the equivalent of $1,500 in one Seychelles bank, you can be granted citizenship. You also need to show that you have a stable and legal source of income fetching you $1,800 or more a month. If you're filing as a couple, you must prove that you are making $5,000 a month or a minimum of $1,800 per child. Number 1. Panama. One of the easiest countries to immigrate to and get citizenship is Panama. You need to have lived in the country for just 5 years for the government to grant you citizenship. If you have a child with a Panamanian, you can become a citizen by naturalization after 3 years of residency. But you must be willing to forego your nationality of origin. Another condition is that the applicant must be in very good mental and physical health. He will have to submit to various medical tests, including HIV and other infectious diseases. You must be able to speak Spanish. The applicant must have a fair knowledge of the history and geography of Panama. Panama also requires you to have a stable job or a successful business to ensure that you are not going to be a burden on the economy. For that same reason, your bank details will be needed. You maintain a minimum balance equivalent of $5,000 as an independent person and $2,000 as a dependent person. You will also pay something around $900 as stamp duty. After the approval process is completed, you will pay $260 extra for your letter of naturalization. Thank you for watching this video, and don't forget to subscribe, comment, and turn on the notification bell.